All right, coaches, welcome to another episode of the Cornerstone Coaching Academy podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kyle Nelson. I welcome you to the podcast today. I hope that you and your family and everyone that you know has been safe and healthy during this trying time, and hopefully we can get through this and get back onto the field as quickly as possible. Today's podcast episode is going to be episode number 211, so that means that you can listen in addition to listening on iTunes, on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and Vimeo. You can also go to our website, www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/211. It is the second part of a two-part series on small things that win games. Basically, it's the tactical things that we, as team coaches, need to work on a weekly basis, or every couple of weeks, to make sure that we are sharp, so that when these things come up in games, and they usually come up in big situations, that our players are not taken by surprise by them. You can go to the first episode of this if you would like to see or listen to our information on bunt defensive principles, cutoffs, and relays. In today's episode, I'll be going through tandem relays, rundowns, and first and third defense, where we're primarily working and talking about principles and rules for our players to operate within, so that we give them the freedom to make decisions in game. A couple of more things for you today, some opportunities, some learning opportunities for you, and then a little bit about where I'm taking the podcast here over the next several weeks. We do have a virtual shutdown clinic going on right now. If you have not yet signed up for that, you can go to www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/shutdown, or you can go to the show notes for today. I've got 8 great presentations that have gone into there already. Things like our batting practice continuum, running a pitching and hitting assessment with your team. I talk at the WBCA clinic on the hitting pyramid last year, and then goal setting and a lot of other great presentations. And there's going to be more to come in that. That is totally and completely free. So you can, again, go to www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/shutdown, and you can sign up for that virtual clinic. I'll then send you an email with a link to the clinic in it. All the presentations are staying up, so if you missed the release date of one, no big deal. That presentation will be up, and you can check that out at any time once you have the link for the virtual clinic. Also, throughout the course of this shutdown, I am running a $1 30-day trial to Cornerstone Elite. It is our premium online membership for baseball coaches. It has everything that you need in there to run a successful high school, college, youth travel program. Again, that's just $1 for your first 30 days. You can cancel at any time. I want to make sure that people who are going through a tough time right now, maybe monetarily, maybe they've lost a job, maybe they've had hours cut back, something like that, that if they want to get good baseball information right now, they still can. In addition to all of the information inside of Elite, I also am doing several Q&As and mini clinics with Elite members only. Our last one was where I went through the entire, every chart that we had in the Elite members area, showed them exactly how to use it, what we use it for, and how to keep those charts, and then basically what we're measuring and why. And that was the last one that we just finished up yesterday. There'll be more to come about every couple days. I'm jumping in right now with our members, answering questions and giving them a small mini clinic on something that they can do to improve during this shutdown period. Again, that's just $1 for your first 30 days. You can cancel at any time. So if you want to get in there, check it out, cancel before your 30 days is up. Totally fine. Most people stick around for a while because they enjoy the mini clinics, and there's a ton of great information in there that you can build off of during the shutdown time, so that when you get back on the field in the summer, in the fall, hopefully it's not any later than that, that you're going to be even more prepared during that because of being a Cornerstone Elite member. So let's go ahead and get to our topic for today, which is small things that win games, part 2. Today we're going to cover tandem relays, rundowns, first and third defenses. I do go over the cutoff and relay verbal system in episode number 210. So if you've not checked that out yet, that might be a good place to start here. With tandem relays, we are running a tandem relay anytime there is no runner on first base and there is a sure double, which we define as you're seeing the outfielder's numbers as they are running away from the ball. So the ball's hit down the line, you see their numbers, the ball's hit over their head, you see their numbers, the ball gets down, the ball's hit into a gap, you see the outfielder's numbers running after it. We're going to define that then as a tandem relay situation, again, with no runner on first base. I'm not going to get into on here what we do with a runner on first base, but the reason why this does not totally apply there is because you're going to have to line up two different areas, home and third, with a runner on first base. So it just makes it a little bit different. With a runner on third, a runner on second, both of those runs are going to score on a sure double, or if there's nobody on, there's no one, there's no lead runner to worry about getting or advancing to home plate. So our tandem relay system is a little bit different, I think, than the way some people run it. We try to get our shortstop in the front of the tandem whenever we can. So our rule at home is from our scoreboard in right center field all the way over to the left field line. Anything in that area, our shortstop is going to take the lead in the tandem, and our second baseman will be slightly behind. So this is a play that we are lining up every single time to third base. And we want it, whoever's the lead in the tandem is going to be responsible for getting in line between the ball and third base. Now, tandem is not a double relay. A tandem relay is like a safety valve. So what's going to happen is the lead infielder, in most cases the shortstop, will be at a distance where the outfielder makes a long throw to them, and then they are able to make a long throw to third base if necessary. The second, or the trail relay person will be about 10 to 15 feet behind them. Now, what we're trying to do with that second person back there is they are a safety valve. So what we tell our outfielders, if you miss with this throw on this tandem relay, you want to miss high, because it's going to go over the first player's head, and then it should be pretty much right to the second player, right to the second infielder if they miss high. So our lead infielder is taught that if it's a ball that they cannot easily handle under normal circumstances, then they are going to let it go, and it should either go directly to the trail relay person, or it'll bounce up to that trail relay person. So our lead guy is basically letting go those awkward short hops, up hops, and things that they cannot get to. So the real reason here, again, it's not a double cut, it's a tandem, it's a safety valve, so that if the throw is not good, because it's going to be from such a long distance, most likely, that we have some sort of a safety valve behind them. If you think about what would happen if we didn't have that safety valve there, outfielder makes a long throw with a runner coming around second, the ball gets over the relay man's head, or it bounces short of him and gets past him. That ball is going to go 20, 30, 40 feet from that relay man. We are certainly giving up third base in that play, on that situation, every time. With that safety valve or that trail relay person there, now we have we have someone essentially backing that play up. So that's how we run tandem relays. All the same verbals, everything else I talked about in episode 210 still applies to our tandem relay. So if you have not listened to that, go back and check out our verbals. The three verbals we have: nothing, cut, and then cut to a base. Rundowns, we basically operate rundowns based on rules. Our rules may be just a little bit different than other people's, but I'll explain as I go through our rules why we have them, if I think that they are just a little bit different. Think about how many times rundowns happen per season. Maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 times. If you play 30 games, you might end up executing 5 to 10 rundowns, somewhere in there. So we don't want to spend a huge amount of time working on rundowns, but we need to make sure that we work on them enough so that when they happen, we are pretty much guaranteed an out. Because there's nothing more frustrating than getting a player of the opposing team in a rundown, feeling like your team is the one feeling like your team is the one in trouble, and then either not getting the out, or even worse, they advance a base or two because you do not execute the rundown correctly. So here's our rundown rules. We have 10 of them. It sounds like a lot, but you'll kind of get the gist of it. And we go through these in our warm-ups quite a bit, where we're practicing these without a base runner. Rule number 1 is that we do not fake throw. When you fake throw, you are faking out your teammate. And as you'll see with rule number 5, we don't want our teammate to be on their heels as they are receiving the throw. So we want to make sure that they're not like flinching as we're fake throwing. So rule number 1, no fake throws. New rule number 2, this one is probably a little bit different than what most people do. A lot of people go arm side, just slightly of the baseline. We are going to always go just slightly inside of the base runner, to the infield side of the base runner, regardless of if you're right-handed or left-handed. We want to make sure that we're close enough to the base runner so that if we catch the ball, we can reach to our glove side and make a tag pretty easily to them. We do not want to be so far that we catch the ball and then we cannot reach them. They stay in the baseline and they get around us. So we're going to be just slightly to the inside of the base runner, the baseline he has created. And that way we have an angle to throw, but we can also catch and tag pretty easily. Number 3, when we catch the ball, we're going to get the ball up right away. Okay, we want to show our partner the ball. We're going to be running with the ball up. That way, when rule number 4 happens, when they say ball, when they want the ball, our ball is ready to go, and we give them a firm flip to the chest. So you do not throw the ball until they say ball. Rule number 5, when the receiving player says ball on a rundown, they are going to step or start running towards the ball as it is coming to them. This, in my opinion, is the most crucial part of a rundown and keeping it to 1 or 2 throws at the most. Because what's happening is the runner is coming at them. If they are coming at the runner as they receive the ball, it is almost impossible for the runner to change direction and get out of their way going the opposite direction. I have seen some of the slowest players on our team catch some of the fastest players on our team because of this simple rule. To me, again, this is the most crucial part of the rundown. They are moving towards the ball when they say ball. They receive it on the run, and now we're going to be able to get this rundown done over with quickly. Rule number 6, after they throw, they peel off and they go to the inside. They go well to the inside so that they are not in the same line as the base runner. We don't want them crossing the baseline to go to the outside. They throw, they peel off, they get to the inside where they already are, so they don't have to cross the baseline. They don't have to worry about getting in the way of the runner and giving the runner an extra base. Rule number 7, we want to shrink the distance of the rundown toward the back base whenever we can. So we don't want a 90-foot rundown between first and second. We want a 45-foot rundown between halfway from second base to first base. We would much rather have a short distance for that runner, and we're squeezing that runner than we would giving them a lot of freedom by keeping the rundown at 90 feet. Rule number 8, when we are ready to tag, we put the ball in the hand in the glove, and we tag firmly with 2 hands whenever possible. We are always ready for them to try to drop to the ground and spin out of our way to get away from us. So we do make sure that we are ready for that. We have ball in hand in glove, and we try to tag firmly with 2 hands. Rule number 9 is 2 throws or less. When we practice this in practice, they are not allowed to make 3 throws. So if they make a 3rd throw, it's over. The runner is safe, and the offensive team gets a point. I've even gone so far sometimes as to say they only get 1 throw or less if they can't do it in 1 throw, because we really want 2 or less. But if they can do it in practice in 1, chances are in game they'll be able to do it in 2 or less. And then the last thing we're going to do, rule number 10, is under all circumstances, and this kind of feeds into our first and third defense here in a second. Under all circumstances, they want to defend home plate. Do not give up runs in a rundown, especially in a tight and critical game. So those are our 10 rundown rules. I know it sounds like a lot, but when you institute them, you can really do almost all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can do all of those dry without a base runner as part of your warm-up just about every day, which is what we end up doing. And then every once or twice a week, we'll throw runners in a different segment for us to actually work on rundowns and the timing of when to call ball, when to throw, things like that. That does lead us kind of nicely into our next topic, which is our first and third defense. Now, I'll be honest with you, we have 2 first and third defense plays. I'm not going to say what they are on the air. I'm sure we have some people who play us listening every now and then. We literally have 2 plays. Our first and third defense is based more on priorities and more on knowing the situation than it is some exotic play. I used to have like 8 first and third plays, the ones where the pitcher cut, the snap throw to third, all those things. And I found they just caused more problems. And plus it took a lot longer for us to work on, because we've got to put in 8 or 9 different first and third plays, and we only use a couple of them throughout the year anyways. So our first and third defense is based more on principles and priorities than it is on any specific play. We always want to make sure when we're practicing first and third defense, we are doing it under the context of an inning score and out situation. So when we're practicing first and third defense or even bunt defense, we'll put a scoreboard on and we will set up a home score, a visiting score, and an out and an inning situation. We'll have kids think in their head about how important that run is in those scenarios, right? So early on in the game, our main goal and philosophy as a program is going to be to stay out of big innings. So if I've got a first and third defense if we're in a first and third situation and we have infield back, okay, let's say we have infield back, maybe it's a 2-0 game, we're up 2-0, infield back first and third, I'm telling our team that I'm okay giving up a run for 1 or 2 outs. They should behave the same way in that first and third situation. Right. So in a first and third situation where I have the infield back, their main goal is going to be to get an out. If we trade an out for the run, I have already said to them without saying it that I'm okay with that because I put the infield back and we're playing for 1 or 2 outs and willing to give up that run. Now, as the game creeps on later in the game, okay, if we're up by 1 or 2 runs, then that runner at third base, we would consider that a priority to keep that runner from scoring. If we're up 1 or 2 runs a little bit later in the game, we'll say from the 5th inning on. And then again, they should react accordingly, right? If they get the out and give up the run, I would consider that a push. If they don't get the out and don't give up the run, that's okay with me. We'll go to work second and third, 1 out, or second and third, 2 outs, or whatever. As we get to a tie ball game, again, this is late in the game, 5th inning on, as we get to a tie ball game or we are down, now that runner at third becomes high priority. And we want to make sure that we do everything in our power, even if we don't get an out, to not have that run score. So it's a lot based on priorities, score, inning, out situations. The other thing that changes a lot of this is if we have 2 outs, because with 2 outs, you have to practice first and third defense with 2 outs because it's a completely different animal. Because if you get that out between first and second, say someone tries a walk-off or a delay steal or something like that, and you get that out with the runner between first and second before that run scores from third, the run does not count. So we practice it with less than 2 outs, with 1 out, with 0 outs, and then we practice it with 2 outs as well, because it does throw a completely different scenario into it, right? Even in a close ball game, a tie game, or we're up by 1, we're down by 1, or we're down by more than 2, or 2 or more, keeping that run from scoring can be accomplished with 2 outs by getting the out between first and second. Okay, so it is important to practice those in a variety of different situations, in a variety of different scores, and make sure we practice it with no outs, 1 out, and 2 outs. One of the things we'll do is we'll run it a couple times in a scenario, say 5-4, we're up, 6th inning with 1 out. We'll run it a couple times, and then we'll come together and we'll talk about and ask players how important they think that run at third is and what the priority should be in that scenario. And it's good to get them talking about it and thinking about it instead of just listening to you say, we're down by 1, that run is high priority, or we're tie game, that run is very high priority. We cannot let that run from third score, even if we give up a base. So that's how we go about first and third defense. Again, without getting into the plays and the specifics of what we do, it's really more based on that type of thing, the scenarios, and based on, all that stuff. So again, this is the second part of a two-part series on small things that win games, tactical things that win games. Again, you can go back to episode number 210 to check that out. If you are looking to learn, looking to get better over this shutdown period, make sure you view our virtual clinic. 8 great presentations in there right now, more to come. I'm going to do some live events in that shutdown clinic as well, www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/shutdown, and you can go check that out. And then also, if you want to join Cornerstone Elite, it's just $1 for your first 30 days right now so that everyone can have access to it. I'm doing a lot of mini clinics with them, Q&As with our Elite members. To get access to that, you can either go to the show notes for today, which is episode number 211, or you can go to www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/dollar. So I hope that your family is safe and healthy, and I'm wishing everyone the best here, and hopefully we can get through this period quickly and get back on the field as quickly as possible. Have a wonderful week and never stop learning.